Welcome to the Romanian Reaver channel, and my first impressions of a Kickstarter game, which is kind of interesting, by the name of King Under the Mountain. This is actually a game that's, technically speaking, pre-alpha or thereabouts, because what I've been given access to is a prototype build purely meant for demonstrative purposes regarding the game. It's nowhere near complete, as you probably can see in the background right now, because, yeah, atypical video, atypical procedure. But basically, it is what you'd get if you had Dwarf Fortress mixed with some of the elements from Rimworld and stirred vigorously, plus other races besides dwarves actually being able to be played. Granted, in the prototype, it's very bare bones. There's even a lot of place fucking holders. You can't brew ale for fucking sake. And you can only play dwarves at the current time, so yeah. There's no save feature either, which is particularly annoying for me personally, who, would like to actually have the ability to show you guys different stages of building, but I basically just play for an hour or thereabouts, and I'm playing in footage so to show you guys what's basically there at the current time if you decide to chip in for the Kickstarter. Now the game in 1.0 version is supposed to have basically the whole Dwarf Fortress element, managing, getting killed by random stuff, hopefully Z levels to a certain degree, but since I last talked the dude who's actually developing this, which is basically one dude who's the active programmer and designer and stuff like that, with a lot of contract help. So it's basically more or less a one-man job, and more or less a passion project by what I've seen. But that aside, basically with Z levels, complete mod support, which is really freaking great. Multiple races, as I said, you can play, if I'm not mistaken, there were elves, hobbits, or halflings, dwarves, humans, and a couple of others planned. I can't remember if kobolds or goblins were in, but I suppose there will be some of those evil races as well. Deep simulation of characters in their environment, so basically Dwarf Fortress or Rimworld levels, possibly as bad as Gnomoria, but hopefully not with a different result in terms of launch. A synchronous multiplayer element, basically what other people do in their games you can have in yours if you select that option, though I don't believe there will be a shared world map, so to say. Basically you just get the option to see people's settlements or characters or stuff like that, basically imported within your own world, or possibly on shared worlds on servers, but I doubt that's gonna be in, because that's a whole kettle of fish you really don't want to have in a game. It's a lot of extra back-end work. And one thing that isn't so much Dwarf Fortress, even though Dwarf Fortress does have its roguelike mode, but that's separate from the Fortress mode. It is set in the same world, but you can only visit, you can't do both. Rimworld has that to a degree when you have the raids or caravan system, is apparently off-map adventures where you can go dungeon crawling or other stuff like that in-game. So basically Dwarf Fortress meets Rimworld in terms of outside of settlement activities, but I'd imagine this can result in a lot of quote-unquote fun, or capitalized fun as Dwarf Fortress players will put it, when you accidentally drag anything you're not supposed to back to your settlement and things end badly. Would actually be interesting if there's something like you go to a dungeon, or let's say a mansion infested by vampires, you dive in, you get your ass kicked, most of your party dies but a couple survive, and because they're routed or something like that, you can no longer control them, they just run back to the settlement. And that could bring back some of the vampires or something like that. That would be actually hilarious if it happened. But yeah, as is at the current time, as you guys can see from the background footage, there's not a lot to look at, but the Kickstarter itself isn't asking for any massive amounts of money, and the dude just wants to do the game, so yeah, it's admirable from that point of view. More or less being a self-funded venture with custom music and assets and stuff like that, yeah, it's gonna be a wee bit on the expensive side, but not too much so, because the graphics, while beautiful in their specific genre, they're not exactly top tier. One thing I do want to critique the game for at the current time, or two actually, I would prefer if it had a sort of Rimworld colonist tracker like you have on Rimworld. At the top, more colonists you have, you have them up there, you can generally see their general status. I'd like that at least in a drop down menu or something like that, pop it and see your guys, so to say, and have an idea where they are, what they're doing, how they are, how psychotic they are, stuff like that. Basically not have to rely on external plugins. And the other thing is, as a Dwarf Fortress veteran and as a Rimworld, not expert, but decent player, as you guys can see from my exploits within that game, I would want at least a toggable option for Fog of War. Seeing everything on the map just feels a wee bit cheesy to me. Though if you see everything on the map, or at least, see it in the areas where it's close to the surface or something like that, if it's a mountain with Z levels, the further in you get, the less you see or something like that. At the current time, it just doesn't work out for me. It feels a wee bit cheap, in my opinion. And having an option there would make it more noob friendly for me, from my perspective, not have it completely Fog of War like in Dwarf Fortress, where like, hey, I'm digging. Oh, cave. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Stuff like that. But also have the option for veterans to be like, but I want to have surprise fun. Surprise rear endings for your dwarves, that is. So yeah, overall, decent prospective game to keep an eye on, and the link, the Kickstarter, will be in the description, plus other info for the website and basic stuff like that, just to give you guys an idea of what to expect, even if you're not chipping in, if you're gonna keep an eye on it for the future. Till then, thank you for watching, or more precisely surviving up until this point, because gods know the editing's kinda interesting and my voice has a melodic tone to it. If you like what you saw, feel free to hit the subscribe button, like button. It does help out the statistics of the channel, gets more visible, stuff like that. And to be honest, at one point I would like to actually make this a job, so I can do better content with better quality, more games, more coverage, stuff like that. Take care.